All right. Some time ago, I got completely caught up on Spy Family. I am a couple of chapters behind now, but Volume 11 came out. I'm reading it right now. I'm reading through material I've already read, and of course, you have the anime adaptation, which I've been following very closely and am eagerly awaiting. The movie comes out on April 19th, by the way, so be sure to check it out. So basically, I am experiencing the series in like three different formats at this point. Like I am obsessed. I love Spy Family. I've emphasized that a lot. It's honestly an interesting series for a lot of reasons. For me personally, I do think it marks a really noticeable shift in the Shonen Jump audience, where we're going from all these mediocre battle series, all this stuff that like really failed to innovate on Dragon Ball. The My Hero Academias, the Black Clovers, the Jujutsu Kaisens, the Chainsaw Mans. Like we're moving away from these kind of like generic, played out battle fantasy series, and are actually moving towards an in a different direction, right? With the romantic comedy, right? With the family drama, with something that's a bit more relatable, right? It is completely different than the kind of series I grew up with, and I think like not all that long ago, I would have turned my nose up at something like this. And I do think that was a trend I noticed when this series first came out, when people became aware of what it actually was people being upset that this wasn't a serious spy story. I think I said this in like my initial reviews, right? Where like I mentioned how disappointed I was that the plot didn't take itself seriously enough, right? But as the series has gone on, right, like we're over 100 chapters in now, like I've really begun appreciating its sense of humor, its artistry, and its characters, right? And reading volume 11, um, and covering some of the best material, I think, in the series, the whole bus saga, right, where like the terrorists take over a bus Anya's on, and Lloyd and Yor are not available. So Anya has to like struggle with these terrorists herself, right? And some of the side characters have to step up in new interesting ways. Like it really gives you an appreciation of what this series is able to accomplish, right? Like it does have a different vibe than most other series I've read. And I really do appreciate it for that reason. And one of the things I feel that makes it great, and one of the things I haven't seen a lot of people like really acknowledge or talk about at all, is this idea that like Spy Family is a top tier romance series. One of the things that really baffles me about romance anime in general is just how fetishized it is, right? Like where it comes to like, you have like the boring male lead, right? Who has no real skill set, who doesn't do anything, who just kind of disrespects everyone around him. But oh no, look at him. He has like 100 girls vying for his affection. God literally comes down and tells him that like, yeah, I made you an incel, but I'm sorry. So I'm just going to give you 100 different waifus to make up for that. Like this format takes a lot of different forms. You have like isekai, you have like general romance, but like you keep seeing this like pattern, this wish fulfillment thing where like the male lead, like the self-insert character gets like everything he wants like right out of the bat, because like that's supposed to be the point, right? Is wish fulfillment. And Spy Family in a way is like way different in that regard, because I was confused by this when I first read it, because the marriage in Spy Family is like very much idealized, like it's very much like very wholesome and very vanilla, but the characters do go through quite a lot, right? They do have problems with each other. They do get into like arguments. There are like situations where like things have to be done, right? There is danger involved, right? There are concerns about what the future might hold, but at the same time, you can totally see that the family is becoming a closer unit and um is beginning to care about each other very, very much. And to me, that is unbelievably based, right? This is a way more genuine and interesting romance than honestly anything I've ever read. Right? Like it's very common for a lot of like jump series in particular to just have kind of like the one note love interest, right? Where you have like Goku and Chi-Chi where they had like their dynamic and like it doesn't really change that much even after they like get married and have children. Like that was the joke in Dragon Ball was that like Goku didn't remember who Chi-Chi was and that's why she was angry at him. But like he decides to marry her anyway. But like it worked in Dragon Ball, right? But like a lot of these other series don't seem to really take like their love interests all that seriously, right? Look at Naruto, right? Hundreds of chapters and like they're in the actual series at like Naruto and Hinata's relationship doesn't evolve at all. Sasuke and Sakura's relationship becomes increasingly toxic to the point where you know they get married and have like the most dysfunctional ninja relationship ever, right? You have like these shallow, just poorly thought out, poorly put together, poorly executed romance arcs, right? Like they're just not all that interesting. But when you compare it to like Spy Family, right? When you see how they do it, where they manage to balance like making the characters interesting while making them appealing, like you really do appreciate just how much better they execute this idea, this concept, right? And one of the things that I think is going very underappreciated right now is the fact that your Forger is very unfetishized, right? She's a very attractive woman, obviously. I like her a lot, but she's not like pimped out the way that like so many other anime protagonists are, right? She's like shockingly old for an anime lead, right? She's like 27. But at the same time, like she's not made to be revolving her entire life around Lloyd. And I know it around Twilight. Like I know it comes off that way sometimes, but she really is doing her own thing and getting involved in her own situations and having her own unique perspective on things. Like anime watchers, anime friends won't know this, but she actually does get closer to the Desmond family than anyone at a certain point. And it leads into like some of the most interesting aspects of the series, right? It leads to some absolute keto moments, like I think, which you should be seeing in the near future when it comes to the anime. But I like the character is treated like an actual character, right? She's not just an object. And I've said this before, like when it comes to like I've complained about like how underutilized like she was initially, but like yeah, like recently that's been changing a lot. Like recently she's really been coming into her own as like a really interesting, compelling character. And and Twilight leans on her a lot, right? Like they really are perfect for each other. And the entire series is like emphasizing that fact and that's what makes it such a great romance manga. I've seen people like refer to this as like the family comedy and stuff like that. Like I do think that is like the primary idea behind it, the primary genre. But I think we can't really understate like the appeal of the romance in general because this is a genuinely good romance, right? Where these people actually care about each other, they actually want to do good things for each other. It's not just about like fetishizing the other person, right? Like both characters are well fleshed out, interesting, and have like funny, unique dynamics with each other, right? Like it is unbelievably fun to watch. And to me, that's a really big reason I prefer this over something like My Dress Up Darling or uh, The 100 Girlfriends That Really, Really Love You or like Rent a Girlfriend or what was that other one? The one with like the guy just I saw like the first episode of this show where this guy just randomly asks out another girl when he's like already dating another girl and they like just start having like a threesome relationship, right? Like I don't know if I ever like made a video talking about that, but like to me that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Like it was just complete like wish fulfillment bullshit, right? Like that would never fucking happen. It's just like it's just uh Spy Family does it better, right? Like Spy Family does respect the audience, it respects the characters, it respects the plot, it respects the concept, right? It's just so well executed in that respect. I do think we're kind of in this weird phase right now where a lot of people like want Spy Family to fail because every time I see people talk about it, it's always just like, oh, it's not that good. Oh, it's only popular in America. Oh, it's only this. It's only a fad or whatever. But in reality, I think it's like way better than like the shit that people are talking about. Garbage like The Adventures of Free Ren, the autistic elf, right? Like Spy Family is a lot better than people are giving it credit for right now. And I do see like a lot of people acknowledge that. Like I do know the series has like a lot of vocal fans. But for me, this series is really cementing itself as one of my favorites. I really hope that eventually people start appreciating it for its unique sense of humor and its surprisingly complex characters. Like this is, in my opinion, the best romance manga I've ever read.